Horrifying situation. I talked with one neighbor.
Off like a bomb. Stuff falling from the sky. Neighbors' windows out of their house across the street.
Boom that shook the county.
They heard the explosion there 9 miles away.
The single-family home gone in a flash. 6 people were in the house. 3 died on scene. 1 died at the hospital. The 2 others remain in critical condition.
Massive house explosion in North Carolina.
Massive explosion decimating this North Carolina mansion owned by NFL player Caleb Farley, killing his own father.
Looks like an atom bomb was dropped on it.
Officials say the explosion happened around midnight, leveling essentially every part of the 6,300 square foot home.
For as large a house as that was, that gas was there for a while. I found out someone did walk out of it. I was amazed.
Looked like Armageddon. The house was basically pulverized, vaporized.
Saturday's home explosion in Carrollton near Beltline and Josie Road. Fire investigators tell us a leak in the bathroom caused a buildup of natural gas in the blast and suffered third-degree burns.
Home explosion, which also set a neighboring home on fire. Officials say 20 fire agencies responded. Say it was just before 2:40 in the afternoon when a 2-story home exploded.
The explosion instantly leveled the home and subsequently ignited a fire in several adjacent structures.
At Napoli Pizza Place, which is about a block away, it sent bottles to the ground.
It literally shook everywhere.
Showing the blast caught on camera. Fireball there, and we can also hear the noise that followed. Fighters spent about 4 hours knocking the flames down that followed the blast. A house next door was also damaged, and LFR tells us crews found a ruptured gas line. That said, the cause is still under investigation, but we're told this appears to be accidental.
Hours after an explosion leveled a home in Du Bois County, the family is recounting the tragedy.
Aerial shot of the plot of land where that house once stood.
Wow, just devastating. Today, officials said the man who was missing last night has been recovered.
Just down the hill from where a home exploded in Du Bois County on Monday evening, debris not only litters the ground, but the treetops up to 100 feet above. Right now, neighbors and family members nearby still struggling to figure out what happened.
An explosion rocking the small community of Hillham. Jeff McHenry is a French Lick police officer who spent many years working up in Indianapolis.
My wife called me, absolutely just screaming that there was a large explosion. So I came from French Lick. I was the first law enforcement officer there. I've seen a lot. I've never seen one that bad.
Right down the hill from the explosion lives Kern Qualkenbush. He says it was his sister's home that exploded, and when he saw that fireball, he immediately picked up the phone to make sure she was safe.
I reached her. I said, "Sis, where are you?" She said, "I'm driving back from work. I had to work a little bit late tonight. The house is on fire and it's exploded. It's blown up."
He then realized that while his sister was safe, inside of the home was his brother-in-law, David Baker.
And I said, Where's David?" He said he was up in the kitchen making something for us. God. I said, "Honey, you need to get home as quick as possible."
For Qualkenbush, their entire family and all the residents of their small community, the road to recovery is a long one.
Well, the Indiana Department of Homeland Security is going to be out here for a couple of more days as they try to figure out what exactly caused this explosion to happen.
Home explosion that happened just before 1 a.m. this morning. LFR crews were on scene, and what we're seeing here is the remnants of the house that was standing at one point in time, and so that damage done to the neighboring houses. So now we have that person that was hospitalized. We don't know the cause of the explosion.
2 children are dead, killed in a house explosion in St. Charles County. Firefighters arrived. They made contact with 2 children trapped inside the home, but heavy flames prevented them from getting inside.
Crews on the scene say the cause of this fire is unknown on high. A significant part of this small home nearly burned to the ground. Now,
explosion and fire in Dutchess County today. A building collapses and rescue workers rush to try to free people who were trapped in the rubble.
15 people, including several children, are now hurt.
Good Samaritans rushing to help rescue survivors trapped in the rubble.
That explosion that shook the neighborhood.
all of a sudden the house shook.
The aftermath, a 2-story multifamily home with 4 apartments leveled.
The explosion happened at 12:15 on Brick Row. Hudson is in the process of replacing decades-old gas mains, triggering the explosion that trapped and injured multiple occupants.
10 victims, 8 adults, and 2 children.
1 child, 2 adults in critical condition.
Loudest boom I could ever hear was just a huge puff of black smoke.
Dispatched here in downtown to a structure fire and Man Hotel.
Debris and metal and everything just flying everywhere.
Saturday night after a house apparently exploded.
A fire happened here in Ripley along First Avenue Saturday night. Dispatchers getting reports of an explosion. Neighbors saying they saw flames as high as these pine trees.
Pictures showing flames shooting through the windows.
After the explosion, he was then transported with non-life-threatening injuries, and this fire is under investigation. The firefighter was actually blown out of the garage in the explosion. That's one of the crews on scene told us there. Officials said 4 total firefighters did sustain some non-life-threatening injuries, and officials are still looking into what caused this explosion.
About 20 minutes after the initial call, there was some sort of explosion. Mayday was called. We're missing a couple of firefighters, and one, I'm being told, was actually blown out of the garage onto the ground.
Terrifying.